Most people don't realize this, but the moment you reach for a lottery ticket, something deeper is happening. It's not just a game of numbers, it's a mirror. There's a reason why some people always feel unlucky no matter how many chances they take, and why others, even in silence, seem to attract fortune without effort. This isn't about superstition, it's about energy, awareness, and the state of your inner world. In the Shaolin tradition, we don't believe in random outcomes. There is no such thing as coincidence. Every win, every loss begins far before the result shows up. It begins in the mind, in the breath, in the way you stand in the world. In this video, I will share 4 simple words, only 4, but they carry the weight of centuries of spiritual training. Words that, if spoken with true presence, shift something invisible but very real. You will also learn why most people push blessings away without realizing it, how ancient monks viewed fortune and fate, and why a calm-centered person can receive more from life than someone running wildly after success. I will show you a practice so subtle that most overlook it. Yet this practice done in just a few seconds can turn even a small act, like buying a lottery ticket, into a moment of spiritual power. If you've ever wondered why things don't always respond to effort, or why some prayers go unanswered, stay with me. Because the truth is, life is always responding, just not to your words, but to your state. Welcome to the Shaolin Soulfire. If you walk this path with sincerity, everything begins to change. Make sure to subscribe, and let's continue this journey together. Before the feet move, before the hand reaches, before the words are spoken, the monks ask one quiet question: is your energy clean or chaotic? This is not a moral question. It's not about good or bad. It's about clarity, intention, presence, because every action carries a vibration, and that vibration determines what kind of response the world will give you. I once watched an old master refuse to accept a gift, a beautiful box of tea brought by a wealthy man hoping to earn favor. The master smiled gently, placed his hand on the box, and said, "It's not the tea that is heavy, it's your energy." The man didn't understand. He had come with hidden motives, hoping to gain something in return. And the master felt it immediately, not in the words but in the field around them. Now consider this. When you walk into a shop and buy a lottery ticket, what's moving you? Excitement, calm clarity, or is it fear, a feeling of lack, the desperate hope that money will fix what discipline hasn't? The energy behind the action is the action. You can speak blessings with a bitter heart, and they will not land. You can pray from panic and wonder why nothing changes. But even one step, taken with clean energy, moves the entire path beneath your feet. So before the ticket, pause. Feel your breath. Ask the one question the monks never skip. Am I centered or am I grasping? Because when you chase from emptiness, you stay empty. But when you move from stillness, even the unseen begins to arrange itself around you. Most people speak words like wishes, soft, uncertain, as if they're asking the sky for mercy. But the old teachings are clear. Don't ask, align. The phrase, "I am already blessed," isn't some magic charm. It's a position, a stance. It's how a trained mind enters the world with steadiness, not need, with fullness, not hunger. In the Shaolin path, this is called internal authority. The strength to claim something before the outer proof arrives. It's not arrogance, it's clarity. The student who walks with gratitude before the reward is given is the one most ready to receive it. This idea echoes across cultures. In Vedanta, the teaching is simple. You are not lacking, you are not separate. The outer is simply a projection of the inner. So speak not from desire, but from knowing. The moment you say, "I am already blessed," you shift the signal. Life listens to that. There's an old story of a monk who during famine was asked why he looked so calm. He replied, "Because the field of my mind is fertile. Something will grow." And sure enough, it did. Not through miracles, but through quiet readiness. To say "I am already blessed" is to plant a flag in the invisible. It's to speak from the mountain, not the valley. And that changes everything. You stop chasing, you start attracting, not because the world owes you, but because you've become the kind of person who can hold what's coming. In the end, the words mean nothing if the posture isn't real. But when you mean them, when you say them with discipline, presence, and a trained heart, they stop being words. They become the beginning of movement. A mind that feels empty will always reach. It will grasp, cling, chase, because it believes something out there will make it whole. But the masters teach, emptiness attracts more emptiness. It doesn't matter if you're chasing money, love, or success. If you're coming from lack, you will multiply lack. That's why the phrase "I am already blessed" is not about pretending, it's about correcting the signal. The moment you say those words with presence, something shifts. Your breath deepens, the body softens, craving gives way to calm. You're no longer searching, you're sitting in enoughness, and that feeling, that quiet fullness, pulls things toward you. Not because you demanded it, but because you've become the kind of vessel life can pour into. There's a discipline to this. It takes training to speak from fullness when your bank account is low or when your plans are failing. But that's the test. The old monks would say, true power is shown not in control, but in stillness during the storm. They trained their students to fast, not just from food, but from desperation, to sit without reaching, to walk without asking, and in that state, blessings began to arrive, not because they begged, but because they became. A beggar sends out the signal. I do not have. A magnet sends out, I am already complete. And the world, ever responsive, always answers accordingly. So when you say, I am already blessed, say it like a master. Say it like the truth you forgot. But now remember, let the words not rise from your lips, but from your center. Then walk without hunger, move without chasing, and watch what finds its way to you. The more tightly you grip, the more life slips through your fingers. This is one of the oldest lessons. You can see it in nature, in relationships, in your own mind. Chase a bird and it flies. Sit still and it may land beside you. Eastern masters understood this deeply. They watched how craving creates tension, how desire, when laced with fear, builds resistance, not just in the mind, but in the field around you. What you pursue with desperation begins to avoid you like water pulled back from a grasping hand. That's why the discipline of non-chasing is so powerful. It's not passivity, it's precision. The martial artist doesn't lunge wildly. He waits, he breathes, he meets the moment, not with force, but with readiness. That same principle applies to fortune, to love, to opportunity. Move with calm expectation, and the world reads your stillness as strength. There's an old Zen story of a student who asked, Master, how can I become enlightened? The master replied, stop chasing, it will come when your mind is quiet enough to receive it. Still water reflects clearly, but a disturbed surface distorts everything. So the question becomes, can you remain centered even when you want something deeply? Can you train your nervous system to stay soft while your vision remains sharp? That is true mastery, not denial of desire, but liberation from its grip. Want what you want, but don't beg. Stand like a mountain, walk like you already carry the blessing in your chest. Because when you no longer chase what's outside, what's meant for you starts moving your way. And not in chaos, but in silence and with grace. In Shaolin, money isn't seen as evil, nor is it worshipped. It's simply chi, life force in a material form, a neutral energy shaped by the hands that hold it. And like all energy, it follows balance, harmony, integrity. If a vessel is cracked, water leaks. If a person is scattered, unstable, full of hidden fear or greed, money becomes a curse, not a gift. It sharpens the imbalance. What was hidden becomes visible. What was small grows loud. This is why the monks don't ask, how can I get more? They ask, am I ready to hold more? There's a story of a student who prayed daily for wealth. One morning, the master finally gave him a coin, just one. The student looked disappointed. Why only this, he asked. Before anything sacred begins in the temple, there is no sound, no movement, only breath. The monks don't rush into prayer. They arrive, they settle, they sit in stillness until their inner world stops shaking. Because in the ancient ways, stillness is not emptiness, it's readiness. It means your mind is no longer scattered, your energy is gathered, and your presence is enough. This is why, before even the smallest ritual offering incense, pouring tea, bowing at the altar, there's a pause, a moment of grounding, not for the gods, but for the self. If you can't sit still with yourself, how will you sit with wealth, with responsibility, with change? Movement isn't always power. Often it's just escape. Stillness, on the other hand, is a kind of declaration. It says, I trust life. I trust myself. I don't need to force or grasp. That's why the masters don't shout their prayers. They breathe them. There's a saying in Chan Buddhism, when the water is clear, you can see the moon. But if the surface is agitated, the reflection breaks. It's not the moon's fault. It's the motion that distorts the view. So when you feel the urge to rush, to chase, to fix, stop, sit, breathe, let silence do the clearing. Because true power doesn't arrive through effort. It comes through alignment, through deep, undisturbed presence, and the one who can be still, even in uncertainty, becomes like the mountain, unmoved, steady, and open to everything the sky is ready to give. Saying I am already blessed isn't just a declaration, it's a surrender, a soft but powerful letting go. In that moment, you're not reaching for the outcome, you're stepping back from it, releasing your grip, and that release creates space for life to move, for energy to shift, for the blessing to find its way without being chased. This is the paradox the ancient masters understood well. The more you cling, the more it slips away. But when you stop needing, when you no longer believe your peace depends on getting it, that's when things begin to arrive. There's a quiet strength in those who can walk without begging. You'll see it in the monk sweeping the floor without complaint, in the farmer who plants his seeds, then waits for the rain without anxiety. They act with full presence but without attachment. They know the outcome isn't theirs to control. One master once said, "True prayer ends in silence, not in repeated demands, but in trust." After the words are spoken, after the breath is taken, there is only the waiting and the knowing that you've already aligned yourself. When you say, "I am already blessed," you are stepping into the present moment fully, no longer bargaining with the future, no longer convincing yourself that you're lacking. It's not a spell, it's a shift from tightness to ease, from chasing to allowing. And strangely, beautifully, that's when doors open, not because you forced them, but because you stopped standing in the way. Let the words rise from stillness. Say them once like you mean them, then release the outcome like a leaf floating down a stream. The less you need it, the more freely it comes. The moment your fingers touch the ticket, pause, not for luck, but for awareness, because it's never about the numbers. Those are just symbols. The real practice lies in what the moment reveals about you. Do you feel a spike of hope, a wave of anxiety, a silent voice whispering, "Maybe this will save me"? That's where the work begins, not after the draw, but in the stillness before. The Shaolin path isn't about grand gestures or dramatic enlightenment. It's about precision in small moments, choosing presence over reaction, breath over impulse. Every action is a mirror, especially the quiet ones. Buying a ticket seems small, forgettable, but your energy in that moment speaks volumes. Are you acting from trust or from lack, from inner fullness or craving? One master used to give his students a single coin each morning, not to spend, but to observe. What did the coin awaken in them? Greed, gratitude, planning, worry. He would say, "This coin is not for food, it's for insight." That's the way of training, using everyday moments as the dojo. Nothing is separate from practice. So when you engage with chance, whether it's a lottery ticket, a risky decision, or a silent hope, watch your inner posture. Don't judge it, just see it. Because mastery begins with seeing clearly, with not flinching from what rises, with letting the moment show you where you're still clinging. In the end, the numbers may never align, but if the mind does, you've already won something far more rare. The world responds to the way you hold yourself in small, unseen seconds. That's where energy shifts. That's where power begins to build. So in the end, it's not about the lottery. It's not about luck or chance or numbers drawn from a machine. It's about the energy you bring to a single moment. Those 4 words, "I am already blessed," are not just something you say. They are something you become. A ritual of stillness, a way of stepping into alignment before the world responds. Because the moment before you act, that's where the seed goes into the soil. That's where your state shapes your fate. Speak the words with breath. Say them with presence. Let them quiet the craving and anchor you in enoughness. And then, whether the ticket wins or not, you've already shifted something deeper. You've trained the mind, you've practiced calm, you've moved like a monk quietly, intentionally, without grasping. That is the real fortune. So as you move through your day, don't wait for special moments. Use the small ones. Buying tea, tying your shoes, reaching for your wallet. Ask yourself, what energy am I carrying right now? Because every moment holds the chance to choose mastery. Thank you for walking this path with us today. If this teaching spoke to something deep in you, gently tap like and subscribe to our channel. Shaolin Soulfire will be here, steady, silent, walking beside you. The master said, "First, carry this without losing your peace. Then we'll see." The teaching was clear. Even small energy tests the container. A strong system, a calm mind, a steady breath, a clean heart can hold wealth without being shaken. It won't panic when gains come. It won't collapse when they go. It remains centered because it understands money is not security. Presence is chi flows where it is respected, where it is not hoarded or feared or worshipped. It seeks openness, not desperation. So before asking for abundance, ask, is my body calm? Is my mind clear? Is my path honest? Because winning is not the challenge. Many people win. Few are prepared to hold what they receive. And in the end, it's not what enters your life that defines you. It's what you can carry with grace.